Bobby Dirkens here. Well, today I'm going to do a recap on the LSU Miami game. For those of you who was living under a rock and have no clue how it turned out, I can sum it up by this. It was 33-3, LSU beating Miami in the third quarter. Hello everybody joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining me. I picked Miami to win because I was stupid enough to believe that a team who did pretty good last season, who had a really good recruiting class, seemed like they were maybe gelling together. I was stupid enough to believe that they would actually come out and play an LSU team whose coach was like that quick on the hot seat. I'm sorry. I figured that maybe some experience from last year would have carried over in here. Maybe they'd right the wrongs. They'd have the excitement of those great recruits. But no, it didn't. I was wrong. I was wrong, and I tell you this, I love being right, but when I'm wrong, I have to admit it. LSU, I'll have to hand it to them. I think it was a combination of a few things. I think that their quarterback looked pretty solid, that Burrows kid. Probably a really good move. Probably one of the few guys who transferred that actually made sense where they ended up. You know, I think about some of these guys who's transferred out, and it looks like they didn't even like. It doesn't even make sense why they went to a school. It was like, I'm a grad transfer, or I could be a grad transfer. Why don't I do it? That sounds good. Hey, Mom, where have you always wanted to live? Really? That's where I'm transferring to. You know, and I saw this the other day on one of the big sports shows that all the analysts picked Miami. I had picked Miami before they had picked it because, once again, they return a ton of starters. But let's be logical here, okay? Let's be logical here. If you return most of the starters from a successful team playing the very next season, what do you think would happen? Realistically, let's not talk about it. Realistically, you would say, you know, that's a pretty good bet. That's a pretty good bet. If I had to put money down, I would put it on them. And see, the thing is, it's not like they lost by 1 point or 2 points. They lost by a buttload. A buttload of points. And what annoys me, and I'm going to say this right here, you know, I can approve or delete my comments. And the reason that I delete and approve my comments is most people out there know how to get on a board. You know, you can poke and jab it at each other, but you can keep it clean. But there's some people who they don't care what they say. Their mouth is like a piece of like a sewage pipe, and it's always on high and it's on, and they don't care. Like they're going out of their way to show the world they don't care, which is like an oxymoron in itself. I'm going to show you that I don't care what you think about me, so I'm going to show you. Yeah, it's got a couple extra chromosomes dancing around in there, buddy. But I have had, except for a few Miami fans, there's a few Miami fans out there that are good people. So I ain't knocking you. All right? Y'all hear that? Now, for the jerks who come on my board, and you couldn't even talk about football. I mean, it wasn't like, I believe we're going to win because we returned so many starters. I believe we're going to win because the continuity of play between everybody who's coming back. I believe we're going to do well because we had success last year, and I believe it's going to drive over. I've been hearing so-and-so's in the count. No. This is what you replied when I talked about Miami and when I questioned how good they were. We the you. You effing this, you effing that. We straight this and straight that. You know what that says to me? You don't know what you're talking about. You turn around and you're saying stupid stuff like, we have 5 national championships, which the majority of them are from the 80s. Like, you realize that 1988 was 30 years ago. You can't even talk to me and give me a valid point other than a bunch of profanity and nuts. And listen, I know we all grown-ups, people talk the way they talk. That is what it is. But don't you give me a bunch of bull crap about your team, and then you go out yesterday and you get the living crap beat out of you. massacred. I guess LSU didn't know that you were the U. I guess they didn't know that you have 5 national championships. I guess they didn't know that you own South Florida. Well, last night they owned you with a coach who's on the hot seat. I'd be embarrassed. I mean, I'd be embarrassed. I don't get this. They committed a bunch of dumb penalties last night. How many people on here, by show of hitting the like button, do you remember last night when they had the penalty where they ran into LSU's kicker? That's a 5-yard penalty. I was fine. They had the yards to spare. You don't want the re-kick. And they had good field position had they not run into him. Right? Right. They turn around, repunt the ball, and they commit like a personal foul or a hold or something, and guess what happens? It gives LSU a first down. How many of you remember that? I do. Throw my foot up here. It remembers too. I mean, if you look at the plays, LSU ran 65 plays, Miami ran 69. The yardage, considering the score, is not that different. Miami was penalized 11 times for 85 yards. LSU was penalized 6 times for 62 yards. Okay, I know the flags kept coming and stuff, but here's at the point to where you've got to turn and look at your team and go, you know what? I don't know if they're against us or if they're for us, but they can't beat us that bad. Meaning the officials. They can't beat. I can blame it. I know they're dressed up like they're prisoners, but I can't blame it on them because they look like it. We're the ones who's killing ourselves. We're the ones who can't score a point. We're the ones who can't move down the field. And y'all want to talk trash that you're back in the ACC? Even when I did your preview, I said I felt like you were going to, I thought you would do okay. But you were not back. I feel like you would beat LSU because LSU seems like it's in disarray. Something still doesn't seem right about it, but last night they did what they did. This was embarrassing if you Miami. Because between you and I, LSU played really good last night. I'm not convinced they're back. What does it take to convince you that they're back after they just said... You know what will convince me? The season will. And that's, even though we all love getting on here, I love getting on here and talking about sports. College football is the best thing you could ever want. Best thing you ever want to talk about. College football is amazing. Tradition. You have your schools involved. You love it. It's not like the NFL, other than grad transfers and JUCO transfers, to where, you know, all of a sudden you love a certain player. They put on a jersey that you absolutely despise the people and rather drink a warm bowl of piss than go pull for them. And all of a sudden you're like, I like the player, but I can't pull it for him anymore. That's really how college football is. This is how college football is. We love it. It's going to take the entire season. It's going to take the entire season to figure out if LSU is back, because LSU has been schizophrenic. The other day I picked Auburn to lose to Washington, and you know the reason why it's hard to pick Auburn is because Auburn is like Clemson used to be. Clemson, from about 1999 up to about 2000, probably 11, 2012, on into the Dabo years, they did that thing that we all called Clemsoning, and I know everybody got mad about it, but I got that flag hanging on my wall. I got this shirt on. Got that hat, where'd my hat go? Anyway, the truth is, we might not like the term Clemsoning, but Clemson earned Clemsoning until they stopped Clemsoning. And we can get all up in the air about it and say, don't bring that up. We did it for years. Years. Games we were supposed to win, we blew it. It took like a walk-on-the-water miracle to break it, but it took time. LSU, you're going to have to prove to me that last night was just not y'all playing really good and Miami seemingly not caring, pissing away talent. Let me also tell you this, too. Let me be really, really clear about this too. If you keep pissing away talent, you will not get those big recruits. It might take you 3 or 4 years. You might get some good recruits. It may take a span of having some good recruits there, because you can bring on good recruits. A lot of people don't think about this when they're analyzing football. You can bring in good recruits, and because they're just super talented, what happens is you begin to win some games here and there that you aren't supposed to win. You ain't got no business with it. It's like some ugly buck-toothed guy going out with some beautiful girl. You might get lucky every now and see one of them, but the majority of time, old Bucky is not going to date Miss Alabama. It's not going to happen, all right? You have to understand those players can make you win a few games here and there while your coaching is mundane. So Miami, you can sign the Patriots from, 2016, whenever it was, or most of any of the Patriots team. But if you don't have good coaching and things are falling apart, yeah, you're going to win your games, but you're going to lose. LSU, same for you. Last night, you actually looked like the LSU of old. You look like an LSU team that might actually have something to say. Looks like you stood up at the podium, somebody handed you the microphone, and instead of having the speakers turned up loud and you just start kind of talking, you actually said something last night. But I'm not going to sit here and deem you the #1 competitor to Alabama in the West until I see you in 2 weeks beat Auburn. And not lose. I'm with you, Falcons Fury. I don't trust LSU. I don't trust them. By logic, my pick of Auburn losing to Washington on paper still looks right. Still looks right. They beat Washington. Washington left a lot on the field, but that's their own fault. Question is, how will LSU do against Auburn? How will Auburn do against LSU? More importantly, how are they going to do in games where they're just a shoe-in to win and then they somehow lose it in past years? I mean, if you look at this yardage is not out of whack. It's not out of whack. It's not like, 600 yards to like 280. I don't know. Fortunately, I don't have a dog in the fight. Fortunately, I'm not an ACC homer. I'm not. I pull for Clemson. End of story. Miami, they go down there and decide to shut down the football program, starting the International School of Crochet. I'm fine with that. I care less. They can go out and they do whatever they want to. They can turn the school into a call center. I'm not going to lose sleep. As long as these boys are okay, we're good. I'll go ahead and talk about Clemson Tigers. So far, the depth chart might have come out recently by now. But last I heard, the depth chart, which normally is out by now, is not out. What does that say? There's some questions on who's going to start. Now, let me go ahead and tell you Kelly Bryant's starting. He's starting against Texas A&M. Here's the reason why he's going to start. He's going to start against Texas A&M because he started in hostile situations, no matter how it turned out. Most of all, he's won the majority of his games. He started off kind of like he was just trying to get in a rhythm the other day. He did throw a touchdown. He did run a touchdown. Yes, it was against Furman, but he took the opportunity. Trevor Lawrence coming out and throwing the ball so well, and the ball distribution was incredible. The way he throws the ball, yes, he started off a little sluggish, trying to get into a rhythm, and he did. He got into a rhythm. He got past the sluggish. But Clemson, they're going to start Kelly Bryant. But if he starts off sluggish against A&M, and he gets about 3 drives in, you're going to see him get about 3 drives in my opinion. They may change something up, but logically they're going to give him 3 drives. And then you're going to see Lawrence come out. But if he's sluggish, and it doesn't seem like he can get much going, guess what? You're going to see Lawrence, and Lawrence is going to play more. If Lawrence starts hitting on something, and he takes what's there, this could be the game where we see a lot of the quarterback questions heating up, but the pendulum, that's a new word to learn, starting to tilt over towards Trevor. Trevor stands a great chance this week of locking down some things for the season, and life could get harder on Kelly if Kelly doesn't produce. Unfortunately, this is how things are. This is how things work. Kelly said he had thought about transferring during the offseason. Jalen Hurts said that he has that whole thing. We all see that video clip. Don't even have to go through it again. Basically, he and Kelly might have should have transferred. But definitely Jalen Hurts. Because here's the deal. Kelly came in and we knew that most likely they were going to start him. Right? Right? Well, the truth is, Jalen Hurts come in knowing that they were not going to start him. Every major media outlet, every coaching little dialogue that went on, they tried to be professional, but you knew Tua was going to start. And that's the truth. So, they're going to start Kelly. I hope he does well. It's not a bad thing to have two quarterbacks who do well. But if there's ever a time in the season to where we need to make sure they're in good standing, it's this time. And if we would have had two easier games in front, normally I'd say I'd like to see this game later in the season, but I think now is a great prime time to see Trevor go ahead and move in and take a few more snaps whether Kelly starts or not. But we already know that both quarterbacks are going to play against him. So, let's talk about a couple of games. I know that tonight's Virginia Tech and Florida State. I said I felt like Virginia Tech was going to win. I'm now starting to lean towards that Florida State's going to win that ball game just because it's Doak Campbell. It is what it is. I think this is almost one of those games that if you switch the site, wherever it's going to play, where they're going to play, that it affects it that much. You know? Tennessee fans are still licking their wounds from West Virginia. I said this, I thought that West Virginia and Tennessee was going to be a much closer game than what everybody thought. And then all of a sudden, it blows up. It's like somebody putting, a pumpkin inside a microwave and turning it on high. And all of a sudden, I couldn't believe Tennessee got beat that bad. I picked them to play close. I even said that there was a chance that they could actually play with each other. But the sad thing is, you drop 40 points on them. It looked bad. But I did tell a couple of Tennessee fans. I got some good Tennessee fans on here that I appreciate. I just want to let everybody know that I believe that you're going to have to be. I think you're going to have to be really patient with Pruitt. Be patient with him. He's trying to clean up a mess. He's not only cleaning up a mess that was going on with playing. I know that you had injuries and everything. But the truth is, you're going to have to be patient with him because he's having to change the mentality, the culture, the way they think about football. He's trying to get past all these things that has happened. That coaching fiasco did not help you. It added more insult than injury than I've ever really seen with about any other team that was already going through a crisis. Right? Already going through a bunch of crap. Everybody's already down. They're still hungover 2016 when I felt like you should have made the college football playoff. You had the talent to do it. You had the college football talent to beat Alabama. You could have owned them. It was easy. I say easy. Not easy. You had it in the palm of your hand. Everybody, I know a bunch of you got on here. Hello. I've just went into a rant. Thank you so much for joining me Hit the like button if you like it, and if you don't, still hit the like button. It'd be the best decision you make. Share it. I am on Twitter at Dirkens, Dirkens. And you can also find me on Instagram at @TheBobbyDirkens. Trying to become more active on both of those. Sometimes it kind of gets hard to stay on top of those things, especially when Bobby Dirkens Jr. and Bobby Dirkens Jr. is draining every bit of color out of my hair. Michigan and Notre Dame. I've already talked about this, and one thing, Michigan, Notre Dame, I picked Michigan to win because I felt like their defense would really step up. I did hang everything basically on Wimbush. If Wimbush could actually throw the ball better. He did throw the ball better. He did move. The big thing here is that they moved the ball. He moved the ball. Big thing. I share a big takeaway. If Wimbush can continue to throw the balls and they like he was throwing them and continue to complete them, because that defense, no matter what happened on offense, that defense is still really good. The problem with Michigan's defense is that Michigan offense hung them out to dry. That was a game that you could that was still close at the very end. Michigan could have still pulled that game out. You realize that, right? They were on a drive to tie it, and then Patterson gets hit, the ball goes loose. That was a great defensive play. All the pretty girls at the school should go give him a kiss for trying to knock that ball loose, and he got that ball loose. I thought McCaffrey looked pretty solid. You know, yeah, Patterson, you know, Patterson's Patterson. He's having to work with what he has to work with, but the truth is, I personally thought that McCaffrey looked solid. Notre Dame, they won. They're definitely going to... The only thing right now is you got to watch out for this overhype. You're going to overhype Notre Dame. You know, it is what it is. A couple other games to talk about. Texas is in disarray. They should be. I don't get what's going on down there. Alabama, they blew out Louisville. They did exactly what I thought they would do. I'm surprised Louisville even scored a touchdown on them. So games coming up this week. Clemson will play Texas A&M. I will do an official preview game in a couple of days after I make sure nobody gets hurt. Because all it takes is one really good player getting hurt. Now, in this case, we do have a lot of depth. Clemson got a ton of depth. One of the things one of the outrageous blessings we have for us is that we have depth at almost every position. And the person who comes in right behind is brilliant. Did anybody notice this past week, you remember Furman had their longest run of the game. It was the one that was running towards the west end, towards the hill. Right? Not west end zone, towards the hill. They broke off like at 30, 35-yard run, something like that. Did anybody notice Xavier Thomas, the true freshman, #1 recruit, defensive recruit in America, did you notice him come all the way from the other side of the field, off the line, cut all the way across, and almost ran down the running back? A defensive back got him, ended up getting him. But the next guy in line was Xavier Thomas. That tells you that a guy that's a defensive end that can run that fast and move that good, and he looked fluid, good God. That's outrageous. Everybody really looked good with Clemson this past week. A lot of great players stepped on the field. Justin Ross, when he caught that, they threw that pass up. Lawrence hit that pass over there to him. They were driving towards the hill on this one. I thought that maybe somebody was going to hit him. He'd go down. Nope, it's just like he caught the pass, took 2 steps, he's standing in the end zone. He's a big dude. A lot of people don't realize how big Justin Ross is. He's 6'4", about 220, 225. Big kid. He's fast. He can jump over Death Valley. That's the thing. Lynn J. Dixon had 2 incredible runs. His second carry all time for Clemson was a 50, 60-yard scamper, something like that. Give a yard or 3. Happy Labor Day to all of you. Obviously, you notice I'm not laboring today. I'm just chilling out. Happy Labor Day to you. It's an incredible time. I'm going to be going out here in just a little bit, but did want to talk about sports. Why not talk about college football? It's like telling somebody that you could drink too much beer. That's not the truth. I hate it when people do that. So, this week, I will have my preview video for Clemson. I am going to preview maybe a few other games on one big show instead of individually. Tell me who you want to talk about. Tell me who you want to hear. I'll try to answer it. But we'll talk about some of the teams, some of the games that will be coming up this weekend. We close out this week tonight, Virginia Tech, FSU. As I said, I think Florida State's going to win that game. Wouldn't bother me at all if Virginia Tech won it. Really don't care who wins it. If Clemson gets their quarterback situation straightened out and everybody stays healthy, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, there ain't nobody in the country who will beat us. Can they beat us? Anybody can beat anybody. You get that quarterback situation solidified, running 100 miles per hour, you can carry it to the bank. Ain't nobody beating Clemson. But if they play around and then they try to put somebody in and we're going to call plays according to his strengths and forget who we're playing, we lose some games. And I hate to be blunt about that, but we will. I don't want to say it, don't want to even think it. We have the talent, we have the recruits, we have the depth, we have the coaching. We have to do that. But this game against A&M is really, really pivotal for us. Because if we can't figure out what's going on, if we can't figure out who's going to play quarterback, we can't figure that out, you're going to put your defense, who's great, back out on the field over and over and over, and then they're going to get tired, and then they're going to give up some points. You can't do that. No matter who you are, you can't do that. Question is West Virginia that good? Is West Virginia that good? I think they're a good team. But we're going to have to wait out the entire season to see exactly how good they are. Because Tennessee is trying to grow, they're trying to move forward. So it's easy to say, oh, they blew out Tennessee. That's like saying Clemson's going to win the national championship just based off of beating Furman and nothing else. That was a game you go in, you get some snaps, you get some reps for you guys, and you try to move forward. West Virginia playing Tennessee. Tennessee's a way better opponent, obviously, than Furman. And you have to respect their coaching, even though they are rebuilding a bunch of crap. The truth is that West Virginia looks really solid. Don't be surprised if the media starts blowing them up out of the water. It's going to take some really good... You're going to have to beat Oklahoma and then turn around and win the next week for me to believe that West Virginia is doing anything amazing. I think they're a solid football team. But you're going to have to prove to me that you're truly a contender in the Big 12, 10, 14, how many other teams you got left in your league. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much. Hit the like button, share it. Remember, I'm on Twitter at bdirkens, D-I-R-K-E-N-S. You can also catch me on Instagram at @TheBobbyDirkens. I sure do appreciate you checking me out. I'll have that Clemson review up this week for the coming game against Texas A&M. And remember, I'm Bobby Dirkens. I'm right, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong. Bobby Dirkens.